Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News Live at 6. I'm Jessica Mendelson. Last night, the Syracuse University Department of Public Safety issued its first orange alert in a year and a half. That's our top story tonight.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Tonight on Citrus TV, we're going to have full coverage of what happened last night with the orange alert here on the Syracuse University campus. Police are still searching for the suspects in the shooting off Hope Avenue last night that left a 15-year-old dead. That 15-year-old male has been identified by police, although Citrus TV is not naming the teen out of respect for his family. A 17-year-old male was also injured, though his name has not been released. That shooting led DPS to issue orange alerts to SU students. Our Max Darrow is live off Hope Avenue near the scene of the shooting. Max, what can you tell us in terms of a timeline of last night's events?
Well, Jessica, here's how last night unfolded. At 7:40 p.m., an officer in an unmarked car heard gunshots just near Hope Avenue. So that officer then chased a car he believed the suspects to be in all the way to Moore Street, where the suspects dumped the car, ran, and fled towards Oakwood Cemetery, all while firing shots at the officer. The officer was not hit. The officer is just fine. Now, while this was going on at 8:30 p.m., Syracuse University issued an orange alert to faculty and students through phone calls, text messages, and emails saying, quote, SPD investigating crime off campus, shelter in place, remain indoors, don't let anyone in, stay out of Oakwood Cemetery, and report suspicious activity. Syracuse police believed the suspects fled through Oakwood Cemetery, so that is right near campus, so they wanted to make sure Syracuse students were safe. Now, the search started all around Oakwood Cemetery, creating a perimeter with Syracuse police and DPS. However, New York State troopers and even a helicopter became involved. The helicopter could be seen circling just low right over the graveyard. Now, while this search was going on, the police department also sent officers to 148 Hope Avenue, which is actually just right here over my left shoulder, and that's where they found a 15-year-old shot and killed on the back porch of the house. Like we mentioned earlier, we have his name, but we are not going to mention it because of respect for the family. They also found a 17-year-old shot. He is actually doing okay, is expected to make a good recovery as he was taken to upstate. Now, while all of this was going on, at 9 and 10 p.m., Syracuse students and faculty received 2 more orange alerts saying the shelter-in-place remains in effect. Students were in the Herg Auditorium in Newhouse. They were in the Hall of Languages. They were in Byrd Library as well as Archibald Gymnasium, and they were urged by faculty members and DPS to stay inside and listen to what they said. Finally, at 10:30 last night, the shelter-in-place was lifted because the police have expanded their search area and believe the suspects were not near Syracuse's campus anymore. We spoke with the Department of Public Safety earlier this afternoon because the suspects are still on the loose. They have not been found. Here's what they had to say.
Remember, the purpose of Orange Alert is when we have an imminent danger on our campus. And once the grid search was conducted of the cemetery area, the police department was confident that folks weren't in the area. We had established the perimeter early with regards to ESF and the university properties. We had lots of officers in the area. We were pretty confident that the folks had fled the area once that search was completed, and the city police were confident enough to ask us to go ahead and stand down.
Syracuse's Citrus TV's very own Gabriella Rusk was actually covering this live last night from the desk. She's joining me now here on Hope Street. Gabriella, can you tell me what the difference between a lockdown and a shelter-in-place is? I know a lot of students were very confused with what was actually going on last night.
Yes, Max. There was even a hashtag used on Twitter, SU Lockdown. Now, DPS clarified it for us today. There was not a lockdown in place because a lockdown only affects a building for K through 12. That's the only thing that they can really lock down. So for this community of this size, Syracuse University is 25,000 people. They cannot physically lock down all of those buildings. Thus, a shelter-in-place is issued, and that's kind of the high form of alert that someone can issue.
Has this happened to the Syracuse campus before?
Yes, actually the first orange alert was issued in 2008, and that was for a similar situation. Syracuse police were investigating something off campus. The past 2 times, though, that an orange alert has been issued is for weather. In fact, one of the emails had a subject line reading orange alert weather. So those are the only 2 other instances that we've used an orange alert to give us notification for a shelter in place.
Now, I know many of the football players were actually on South Campus last night during this whole situation. Can you tell me a little bit about what they experienced?
Yeah, so the football players were watching tape at Manley Fieldhouse, and they were under the orange alert. And here's what Scott Schaefer said in his presser tonight.
Yeah, we were watching film and we heard a helicopter, and so what's going on? And then guys got alerts on their phones, like most of us probably did. So unfortunate, really unfortunate situation, but reality of life.
And one of the biggest areas of concern on campus were Flint and Day Hall, located on the Mount. Those are 2 residential dorms, and we spoke to some students who live in Day Hall. They were given extra notification about closing their doors, shutting their blinds, and here's what they told us.
I was just in my room studying with my roommate, and we heard the sirens going off, and then we got the emails and the texts, and my roommate was really freaking out. I wasn't really that nervous. But then we went and we talked to our RAs who kind of told us what was going on. And since it wasn't right on campus, I wasn't that nervous, but it was still pretty nerve-wracking.
I was working in Graham Dining Hall when I got the DPS call, and then there was like a school-wide alert, so everyone got like a text message. Basically what they did was they had anyone there stay for like roughly an hour, and then once the alert was like put out a little bit longer, they said that anyone who wanted to leave would have to go through the tunnels and either go to Day or Flint. But anyone who lived in like Haven or like Del Plaine had to go to one of the 2 like adjacent halls. They weren't allowed to go outside.
In total, Max, the orange alert lasted about 2 hours and was ultimately lifted at 10:30.
No Syracuse students were actually involved in the incident. And one more time, police officers are still looking for the suspects. We're right on Hope Avenue where there's many police officers. They're down the street that way, as well as right behind our cameras. Live on Hope Avenue for Gabriella, Rusk, I'm Max Darrow, Citrus TV.
Max and Gabby, thank you so much for being out there down in Hope Avenue. The shooting did end up killing a 15-year-old and injuring a 17-year-old, bringing to light youth violence here in Syracuse. Now here in studio tonight, joining us with Citrus TV reporter Jacob Reynolds are Rachel Brown-Weinstock and Naya Rove, co-presidents of the Syracuse Youth Development Council.
Well, thank you, Jess. I'm joined by Rachel and Neha. Thank you for joining me. You two are co-presidents of the Syracuse Youth Development Council. And I guess our first and most obvious question is kind of, what does that council do? What are you guys up to?
So the Syracuse Youth Development Council is a coalition of student service groups that work with youth in the district. It's also open to individual students who are passionate about improving the lives of youth. For this year, we're focusing on the campaign of youth violence, and all of our campaign and service events are going to be correlated to that issue.
Basically, our mission, we are trying to create a coalition so that we can better provide services and more cohesively provide services to youth in the district, and to try to strengthen that connection between youth in the district and then students on campus.
Okay, now obviously after the events of last night, terrifying for some, and obviously bringing the light right to the campus university, the dangers of youth violence. You have an event tomorrow night called Youth Violence, Violence of the Syracuse City School District. What can you tell us about that event?
So the timing of the event is kind of crazy that this happened last night, but our goal with the event was to get SU students, faculty, the whole campus knowledgeable about this event straight from the voices of teachers and counselors from the district who work with the youth on a daily basis, so that they can really get the true story.
So basically, we're going to start with a student speaker. Her name is Nye Hill, and she will be coming in and giving kind of a kickoff speech about her experiences with violence and how it affected her life as a former student of the Syracuse City School District and now as a student at Syracuse University. And then we'll be having our own groups that are on the council. Our service groups kind of give their own experiences quickly, and then we proceed to the teachers that'll take up the majority of the event. And we're going to follow that up with a woman who runs the mentoring program in the Syracuse City School District, and she will be kind of giving a speech about how to get involved in the mentoring program so we can connect what we talk about to real change.
Alrighty, thank you, ladies. That event is in Maxwell Auditorium. Doors open at 4:30 and the event starts at 5. Jess, back to you.
Jacob, thank you. We will have continuing coverage of this incident throughout the week as more information becomes available. You can follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News for updates. And coming up, what school on campus is seeking re-accreditation this week? Reporter Johnny Oliver explores what this month has been designated and what the student group in this week's Citrus Spotlight is doing on campus. Next on Citrus TV News.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
For this week's Citrus TV Spotlight, we're focusing on the ways in which one campus organization is working to raise money for a specific cause. Joining me tonight is Nick Godzak, the music director of Auto Tunes, and Dylan Brunette, their business manager. Guys, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So you have an exciting fundraiser coming up this Saturday called Cockapella. Can you tell us what it's about?
So the main objective for Cockapella, we started it about 3 years ago, and its main purpose is to bring to light testicular cancer. For those that don't know, we really didn't know at the time, but testicular cancer tends to affect men ages 15 to 35. So since the college-age man will kind of fall within that demographic, we thought that it was important to bring light to this kind of issue, and so we decided to partner with the Testicular Cancer Foundation, which takes a very lighthearted approach to making sure that people are really proactive about their personal health.
And so what can people expect if they show up to Cockapella this weekend?
That's a great question. What do you think, Dylan?
Wonderful music. We have music ranging from Bonnie Raitt to 5 Seconds of Summer. We have a wide variety, and we always love to put on a good show.
Yeah. And so far, you guys, I've heard, have raised a lot of money. How's it going this year?
It's going pretty well so far. We've got a fundraiser that's operating through our Facebook page through the Testicular Cancer Foundation. So if you don't want to make a cash donation at the door, you're more than welcome to do so online. We've had a lot of organizations express interest in doing that. We've been doing the event for 2 years. In 2 years' time, we've raised about $7,000, just about. And so my hope for this year, my personal goal is that if we can make $7,000 in one night, that would just be really awesome.
Great. So Saturday night, Hendricks Chapel, 8
o'clock. Yep,
Great.
doors open at 7:30.
Oh, very nice. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Citrus TV's Johnny Oliver tells us about the campaign and how we can keep our information safe.
October has marked National Cybersecurity Awareness Month since 2004. Information Technology Services is raising awareness every Wednesday and Thursday this month by hosting events. A popular way for hackers to go after your data is phishing. Phishing is when a hacker pretends to be a legitimate organization in order to access your information. Chris Finkel, a spokesperson for ITS, says that phishing is the biggest threat to students.
It looks like some company you may do business with, and they will try to fool you into entering your username and password through a variety of ruses, but most frequently it's that they are telling you you need to do something.
Finkel says some hackers will go as far as building a website that looks like MySlice's homepage. That way, you're not expecting anything suspicious. The university tries its best to protect Air Orange X. Machinery Hall, where plenty of university data is physically stored on servers, requires card access at all times in order to prevent intruders. But students have to do their part too. SU senior Cameron Shadow says he doesn't think too much about his cybersecurity, and as a result, only uses one password.
Looking at it objectively, though, yeah, it's probably really dumb.
Finkel also suggests that students have different passwords for each of their accounts, so if one of them gets hacked, the others are not in danger. Johnny Oliver, Citrus TV.
The Newhouse School is undergoing reaccreditation. The accreditation process happens every 6 years. It is done by a team that comes to evaluate the school and speak with students. Evaluation team leader Christopher Callahan says out of the 500 journalism schools in the country, 100 are accredited, including Newhouse. And SU's Forensic and National Security Sciences Institute has received a grant to help catch rapists through DNA profiling. The organization has been given a $155,000 grant by the National Institute of Justice. The institute will use the money to invest in technology that will help analyze sexual assault cases. And the Syracuse Common Council defeated an ordinance that would make it a prisonable offense for students throwing parties with underage drinking or excessive noise. The council voted 5-4 against the ordinance on Tuesday. And coming up, 6 are arrested in connection with the death of a 19-year-old. What officials say were the circumstances of the boy's death. Obama spoke on troops in Afghanistan. What will they be staying or retreating?
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Well, today certainly was a beautiful fall day. The sun was out and it was a little crisp, but Citrus TV's Jamie Weiss is in studio with your full weather forecast. Jamie, what can we expect this weekend?
Well, Jess, unfortunately, we're expecting a washout this weekend, but we still have a few hours of nice weather before the rain rolls in. It's currently 64 degrees and breezy under partly cloudy skies. Most parts of the country are also experiencing sunshine. Let's take a look. Across the Northeast, half the country, we see 50 through 60 degrees. And once we hit about this line, we have 78 degrees, 77 degrees, and much higher. These high temperatures are because of the high pressure system moving into the South United States. Now, as we look back into the Northeast, we see this low pressure system over the Great Lakes area, which is pushing a weather system into our area. Now, if you look at the screen here, you can see the rain is moving in from the west. We can expect to see some light rain starting around 9 p.m., with precipitation growing more severe as the hours go on. So, hope you didn't put that raincoat away because we're going to need it when we we wake up tomorrow. Looking ahead to the weekend, the rain is going to cool the temperatures down, very, very far down to the 40 degrees for the duration of the weekend. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to Monday when it's going to start to be pretty sunny. And I know if we look right here, Sunday the low is 29 degrees, but I don't think it'll get that much cooler coming up.
All right, Jamie, thank you so much. So is it going to rain the entire weekend?
Unfortunately, it is going to rain the majority of the weekend. Probably Sunday afternoon is when we're going to start to see some sunshine peeking through, but Monday's when it will fully stop.
All right, so we're actually looking forward to Monday this time.
We are looking forward to Monday for once.
Great, thank you so much. And 6 members of the... Six members of the Word of Life Christian Church in New Hartford, New York, have been arrested in connection with the death of a 19-year-old man and critical injuries to his 17-year-old brother. The brothers underwent blunt force trauma during what officials say was a counseling session aimed at confessing sins. The parents face first-degree manslaughter charges, and the other 4 members face second-degree manslaughter charges as well. The attorney for the boy's father claimed he acted without intent to injure. And President Obama announced today that the same number of troops will remain in Afghanistan through much of 2016. Obama also spoke on what the troops would be doing.
Their mission will not change. Our troops will continue to pursue those 2 narrow tasks that I outlined earlier, training Afghan forces and going after al-Qaeda.
Roughly 10,000 troops will stay in the country until near the end of 2016 and transition to 5,500 troops through 2017. Original plans were to limit the amount of troops to 1,000 by the end of President Obama's term. Next year, there will not be an annual raise in Social Security benefits for the 65 million retirees and other recipients in the program. The cost of living adjustment, largely based on inflation, has prevented the raise due to dropping gas prices. This is the first time since 2011 that there hasn't been a raise in benefits. 2 new suspects have been identified in the 1988 Lockerbie bombing that killed 270 people over Scotland. Scottish officials and the FBI are interviewing 2 Libyans who they suspect were involved. Only one man, Abdelbaset al-Maghari, was convicted in the terrorist attack. He died in 2012. The Japanese government has restarted a second nuclear reactor, despite public outcry against it. The system was shut down back in 2012 after the earthquake and tsunami that caused nuclear disaster in Japan. After a power shortage and environmental concerns, the reactor has been restarted, and officials say it now follows strict regulations. And now Andrew Morris joins us in studio with what's ahead in sports.
Thanks, Jess. Coming up in sports, the men's basketball team falls way outside the national top 25 poll, even with a key ally on their side. Also, our own Andrew Miller takes a closer look at what the Orange football team has in store prior to their upcoming game in Virginia. Stick around.
I'm Jay Billis of ESPN. You're watching Citrus TV, so don't change the channel.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Just 3 years ago, the SU men's basketball team ended its season with a trip to the Final Four. The year after that, they were ranked in the top 15 at the season's close. Fast forward to this week, and SU comes into this year's campaign in dead last. That's right, the Syracuse finished Outside the top 25 in this year's USA Today preseason coaches poll, they didn't even receive a single vote. The Orange hope to pick up the pace early when they start against Lehigh in just about a month. From that to the SU football team that was on the brink of a national ranking last week. Last Saturday, the Orange fell just short of that hope in a 24-45 loss to USF in Tampa. Head coach Scott Schaefer blamed the loss on key mistakes and giving up big play after big play. This week, the focus for Syracuse was to improve on those defensive mishaps ahead of this Saturday's game against Virginia. Andrew Miller takes a look at the closer look at this week's defensive project.
Bulls go fast. Mack, end around. Flea flicker. Back to Flowers. Deep ball. Brunson open. Touchdown, USF!
Big plays plagued SU football last week, and Coach Schaefer blames fundamental mistakes.
I think the South Florida game, we didn't get off blocks well enough. I didn't maintain and sustain blocks on the other side of the ball, and didn't protect our legs getting cut. And, that's the fundamental side.
The Orange gave up 10 plays of at least 15 yards against USF, and this 87-yard touchdown was called back by a penalty versus LSU. Defensive coordinator Chuck Bullis says the young team has to improve.
The more you play, the better you get. That's just how the nature of the game. You can practice all you want, but you got to get game experience. So they just got to keep improving as we go throughout the season. They just got to keep improving. These young guys that haven't played, they'll see something, and next time it won't happen to them again.
While upcoming opponent UVA doesn't have Leonard Fournette or Marlon Mack, the defense won't get a break with an ACC foe on the road. Andrew Miller, CitrusTV Sports.
After being crowned the nation's best, the Syracuse field hockey team is still playing each game like it's their biggest yet. Especially in the ACC, head coach Ainge Bradley knows that it can be dangerous to lose any focus.
RPI-wise, we're holding the top 6 spots, which is unbelievable. There's no other conference that has to play that and then go back to the ACC tournament and play it again. And then if you're still standing, to be able to get into the NCAA. So we're looking on, really, we've scouted ourselves quite a bit this week and last week, and we're looking at being able to use these next 3 weeks to really grow and make Syracuse much better.
Tomorrow in Wisconsin, you can find almost 40 Syracuse students running at the same time. They all happen to be on the SU cross country team, both men's and women's. The men are ranked number 2 in the national polls, while the women sit at number 15. It's the men's highest ranking in program history. Now the Orange join 36 other ranked teams in the Wisconsin Adidas Invitational tomorrow. Think of all those feet. Meanwhile, the Syracuse volleyball team has seen a complete flip from last year to this year. 9-21 last season, 14-4 this time around. The Orange are much more healthy and find themselves in the thick of their ACC schedule. Currently, SU clocks in at 5-2 in ACC play, good for 4th best in the conference. This Sunday, Syracuse welcomes in Virginia, just a game behind them in the ACC. The Orange won in straight sets last season against the Cavaliers. And finally, I hope you didn't miss the baseball game played last night up north in Canada. The Blue Jays of Toronto pulled off a crazy win over the Texas Rangers. Joey Batista sent Toronto to its first ALCS in 22 years with a huge 3-run home run and a flip of the bat in the 7th inning. Tonight, the New York Mets are searching for their first playoff series win since 2006.
Andrew, thank you so much for that sports update. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our show. As always, thank you for tuning in to Citrus TV at 6. Make sure to give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News. Make sure to tune in at 7:30 tonight for your political update on Talking Points. For all of us here in the studio and for Max Darrow and Gabriella Rusk out on Hope Avenue, I'm Jessica Mendelson. Have a safe and wonderful weekend.